Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. This principle confronts one of the oldest distortions of the human mind: self-importance. Every person is born at the center of their own experience. Every thought passes through the filter of I. Every event is interpreted through personal meaning. This is natural. But what is natural is not always helpful. Left unchecked, the mind builds a world where everything revolves around the self. Praise becomes validation. Criticism becomes offense. Inconvenience becomes injustice. Disagreement becomes threat. The ego quietly expands until the individual becomes the measure of everything. This distorts perception. When you think heavily of yourself, the world becomes smaller. Every conversation becomes personal. Every obstacle becomes unfair. Every success becomes proof of superiority. Every failure becomes humiliation. The ego inflates both victory and defeat. Both become exaggerated reflections of the self. Humility breaks this distortion. To think lightly of yourself is not to think poorly of yourself. It is to reduce the weight of your own narrative. You recognize that the world is vast. Events are not always about you. Others are living lives just as complex as your own. Circumstances arise from forces far beyond pertinence. Humility restores proportion. The sun does not rise for you. The tide does not turn for you. History does not bend to your plans. This realization is not discouraging. It is liberating. When the self becomes lighter, the world becomes clearer. You begin to observe rather than react. You notice patterns in people, you see systems at work, you recognize that most conflict arises not from malice but from competing perspectives. Thinking deeply of the world expands understanding. You study the behavior of others. You examine consequences. You pay attention to cause and effect. Curiosity replaces judgment. The disciplined man becomes a student of reality. He studies how power operates. He studies how character reveals itself under pressure. He studies how people behave when comfort disappears. This attention sharpens perception. Humility also protects against arrogance. Arrogance is a fragile form of confidence. It depends on comparison. It requires others to appear smaller, but comparison is unstable. There will always be someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more accomplished. When identity depends on superiority, insecurity is inevitable. True confidence does not require domination. It rests in quiet competence. The man who thinks lightly of himself does not need constant validation. He is free to learn. He listens more carefully. He asks better questions. He absorbs lessons others miss because their pride blocks their vision. Humility accelerates growth. Arrogance slows it. When you believe you already understand, you stop observing. When you stop observing, you stop improving. The fourth principle, therefore, serves a strategic function. It clears the mind of ego so perception can sharpen. A warrior who underestimates his opponent loses quickly. A leader who ignores reality leads poorly. A man who assumes he understands everything learns nothing. Thinking deeply of the world means studying it honestly. Not the world as you wish it to be. The world as it actually operates. This requires discipline. The mind prefers simple explanations. It prefers heroes and villains. It prefers clear narratives. It prefers certainty. Reality is rarely that simple. Human behavior is layered. Motives are mixed. Events are shaped by forces unseen. To think deeply is to remain curious. It is to recognize that understanding takes time. When humility and curiosity combine, perception becomes powerful. You begin to see things others overlook. You recognize when a man is trustworthy before others do. You detect weakness beneath confidence. You sense opportunity where others see confusion. This clarity is not mystical. It comes from attention. And attention becomes possible only when the self is quiet enough to observe. The ego demands attention. Humility directs attention outward. This is the balance the fourth principle seeks. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world.